Oh, we got a show to do. That's what we do during this time. Monday through Friday, 4 to 6. It is the Press Box on 1410, 93.9 KGSO. In the studios, Jacob Zimmerman. Sasha Bushka back from the weekend. I guess you could even say a little bit of a 3-day weekend for us as it relates to this show. We were not live. We did not have a Friday show due to the National Baseball Congress World Series right here in Wichita from X Stadium, Gene Stevenson Park, Tyler Field. Oh, man. As we'll get into a little bit of recap from what we saw in the weekends of collegiate baseball here this summer. What is a hot, hot summer, man. We'll get to the TBT. It's a hot day in the sports world. I'm calling this a historic TBT battle. I don't care if you disagree. Guys, the Jayhawks and the Aftershocks are going at it. Jayhawks hoops, the Wichita State alum. I was looking into a little bit of history with the real men's basketball teams. We can maybe cover that as well, as kind of get you the latest on what went down, of how these teams booked it to the second round, and what's going to happen tonight at 8 p.m. inside the Roundhouse. And, of course, listen here on KGSO, the SC Wichita app, KGSO.com, 7:45 pregame start. We can't wait to broadcast some more TBT. We'll get to the second hour of the show. We'll recap the AFC West. We did not get to do that on Friday. It'll be the final day of our comprehensive coverage series. I can't believe it. I remember starting this way back at the beginning of June. Of course, this has been an ongoing series for a couple years here in the Press Box throughout the summers, just getting you queued up for the NFL season. And there was some sad news today with Eric Bieniemy's family, but some positive news from late last weekend with Patrick Mahomes returning to the practice field. And oh yeah, LeBron James is headed to the 76ers. Oh my goodness. I about lost my mind on Friday. We will recap that. I will give you my full thoughts on how I think it plays out in Philly. Sasha B., what's going on, dude?
Not much, Jay-Z. There's only two things you need to know about the history between KU and Wichita State basketball, and they're both names of cities. You got the Battle of New Orleans and the Battle of Omaha. The two most important games played between those two teams. I'll just spoil the surprise. Wichita State won both. Nice. But I'm sure they've met in the tournament at other times, but I don't care about those other times.
There's not as many matchups all time as I was thinking.
16, I think.
There's only two in the last 33 years that I'm seeing.
Yeah, there's 16 all time. I think I saw in the TBT notes that KU's 13-3, but 2015 would have been one of those two in the NCAA tournament in Omaha. And then they played about 4 or 5 years ago in a neutral site game that KU finally agreed to play them when they were at an all-time low as a program.
All right, to kick off this show, to tip things off, as I should say, let's go to the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines. You're inside the Press Box. How are you?
Hey, guys. Hey, JC. Sasha, how are you? This is Corey.
What's up, Corey?
How are y'all doing?
Corey, we're great.
Oh, not much. I've been watching the baseball stuff that I've had on YouTube, and I've been watching it, and I can't believe Hayes come back and lost their game and everything, but I believe it was Hutch. Hutch come 5-4, and they kind of lost that game against Lone Stars, and but I still think y'all Hutch gonna win that tournament this year, in baseball and everything. JC, I think they got a team this year,
I say why not? I have not had the luxury just yet of broadcasting one of these games. I know Andy Stats, Sasha, James, they've all had a game. I will probably give it a call on Wednesday for my first NBC game. I'm looking forward to it. We have a couple games here to recap for the weekend. We'll talk a little bit about the Hutchinson at TPA matchup. We got the Hayes Larks and Tessa's Army, their box scores in front of us, but still very early on. And I think it's tough to kind of get a real gauge of what happens here in group play. Anything can happen when you get to the real bracket here later in the week in the NBC.
Yeah, and I want to know, y'all, from both of y'all know so much about Major League Baseball. Who you think will get traded this year? What team talking about anything, JC.
Yeah, I think the big question mark centers around Tarek Skubal right now. Everybody's wondering if the Detroit Tigers will move him. It'd be a straight rental, so you wonder what kind of haul they'd get for him. And also, they're not that far out of the wild card, out of a playoff spot. So it's like, if the haul's not great, why not just play it out and see what you can do this year? There's other names out there that are going to get traded. A while ago, you would have thought the Red Sox closer Aroldis Chapman was going out the door, but now they went on that win streak, and so who knows? The deadline is after this weekend, right? It goes up until like Monday morning, I believe. So there'll be some movement.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm hearing too. Skubal, Beeman, but I talked to the guys this morning. They thought he'd be in a Dodger uniform, JC.
Oh boy, they don't need any more help out there in LA.
Like we have talked before, I think Atlanta and LA be talking to some teams because they're trying to push it, trying to really get on that streak to where they need some help on pitching or hitting.
Hey, Corey, let us get back on track here with the TBT. Who you got winning tonight? The Aftershocks or Jayhawks hoops?
Oh, I got Aftershocks winning the thing.
There you go. I thought you were about to say KU.
It's a good answer, Corey.
No, we got some nice gentlemen in the NBA in the past and play it with, or some have been former players.
It's not Van Fleet or Landry Shamet on the Aftershocks. Boy, I wish. I thought for a moment LeBron was going to come to the Aftershocks and how long he took a decision. But KU's got Zeke Mayo. They got some talent.
Yeah,
no Joel Embiid on the other side either.
Thank goodness.
Hey, JC, does it shock you about Bron James going to Philadelphia?
I would say that was not in my top two of most expected. I think it was probably going to be your order in my head. I thought it was going to be Miami first, maybe Cleveland second, Philly third, and Golden State fourth. I was even starting to think, man, is LeBron wishing they just went back to the Lakers? I have no idea. I'm pretty hyped up. I think LeBron is, as far as teammates-wise, he's taken an upgrade. Eastern Conference, although the East is starting to look a little stacked, I think it's a good path for the Kings. So, Corey, we appreciate the call.
Yes, sir.
Call later in the show if you'd like. 522-1410.
Yes,
you are the man. We will see you on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines. All right, Sasha, it's the TBT. And I want to start off here by referencing the conversation that you and I had for maybe a few seconds off air in the middle of Friday night's game as the Aftershocks were trailing to the Enchantment here. They ended up pulling this one out, thank goodness, 73-67. But you were kind of hanging in the doldrums just a little bit. I was as well. Like, look, there was a period in this game where everyone at Charles Koch Arena, it looked like the expressions on the faces of the Aftershocks were not only stumped from Thursday night in the Enchantment, New Mexico alumni. I mean, Vance Jackson going off for 29 points, hardly missed a shot out there. And look, you kind of head on into a back-to-back game on Friday night there at Koch Arena, and you don't get off to the strong start that you were hoping for, that you had certainly had back last Monday's game. And the real reality started to sit in. I'm like, man, are we just going to be done here in the first round, Sasha? They ended up getting it together after that, but it still wasn't very clean.
Yeah, listen, those who know me know that I'm about as positive as they come when it comes to anything Shocker Hoops, whether it's the Aftershocks or the real Shocker Hoops. Like, in terms of within a game, I always feel like they have a chance. And I never felt like they didn't have a chance on Friday night, but there was like going into the half, it didn't feel good, right? They were down 7 at the half, and the Enchantment hit a last second 3 at the end of the first half, and sometimes you feel those omens, and it didn't feel right. I'll tell you, when the first time I thought, like, yeah, I think they're going to pull it out was when Marcus McDuffie banked in a 3. Because there's just something about banking in a 3, you just usually win that game. And it was from a weird angle and like off the top of the backboard. And at that moment, I was like, okay, I think they're gonna figure this one out. And the second halves are so short in these TBT games sometimes because you only play 14 minutes of game action before the Elam ending starts.
Right.
And so you have to take those first halves seriously, but it also, you kind of fail to realize when a team really performs well in the second half. The reality is the Aftershocks won that game by 6 points. They were down 7 at the half. So from the start of the second half through the Elam ending, they outscored the Enchantment by 13 points. They really did actually play pretty well in the second half, and they went from 10 turnovers in the first half to I think maybe
3.
3, and maybe 2 of those were in the Elam ending. So maybe 1 between the start of the second half and the Elam ending, which is pretty impressive. They realized where their deficiency was and alleviated it, and then they started getting some steals on their end as well, which they were getting in spades in game 1 of that series. So it looked a little bit better in the second half, but there was about 6 quarters of action there, right? The entire game 2 and the first half of game 3 where the Aftershocks didn't look like themselves. You got to hope that the correct version of the Aftershocks shows up from the tip tonight.
John Huff saying what's up here on the Facebook feed. You guys can always comment. We're live on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. The SC Wichita app. Give that sucker a download there in your app store on your phone. John, what is up? John, what are you pumped for tonight? Maybe a little TBT. We're talking about it now here with the Aftershocks. And, yeah, kind of just getting our head around the comeback that it was for the WSU alum over the enchantment for the New Mexico State alumni. Look, you were down 23-14 here in the first quarter. And I kind of started to call for it on the broadcast just a little bit, doing the play-by-play there. I was saying, look, Marcus Keene is just the heartbeat of this Aftershock squad. And if you saw the 2025 championship run, that you knew that when Marcus Keene hit a shot, maybe a little bit similar to like Connor Frankham bringing the energy alive in Coke Arena. I think when Marcus Keene has it going, the Aftershocks offense is just at its best. And Keene kind of did it in, I won't say an uncharacteristic way, but he found, hey, maybe my three-point shot isn't quite going the way I want to. Hey, I've kind of dribbled the ball off my foot a little bit more than I'm expecting here in the TBT. Why don't I just start slicing through, driving in, kicking it out, but really getting a lot of layups? And Keene came alive. He finished with 23 points. His free throws, while there was just 5 of 7 from the free throw line, they were that much more important here when you got down to the Elam ender. And I also wanted to highlight Marcus Santos Silva. Look, he played 30 minutes in this one. He was second to Keene in the minutes category. Udezi got the start at center. He only played 7 minutes, but Santos Silva with a double-double, leading the team in assists as well with 4, had 2 steals. Santos Silva kind of the unsung hero here, pulling the Aftershocks out of what was going to be a first-round exit.
Yeah, and Santos Silva played really well. I think we'll see him in the starting lineup tonight. Maybe they go just keep it the same, but I think Santos Silva fits well with those starters, and I was questioning whether they needed to do that early on, but after these last 2 performances, I think Santos Silva is the answer as the big man. It's funny that you bring up Marcus Keene and kind of the Aftershocks going as he goes. Those 6 quarters that they struggled coincided with his struggles. Game 2, 4 points, 4 turnovers. He did nothing in game 2. First half of game 1, he had some points, but they're almost all from the free throw line. I think he made 1 field goal in the first half of game 3, but then ended the game with 23, and they started going to him consistently at the end of the second half. Even though actually QJ Peterson scored all 9 points in the Elam ending, Marcus Keene scored a lot of the points in the fourth quarter leading up to that. And you're right, it was a lot of mid-range, and I don't think he was intentionally looking for mid-range shots, but he was intentionally penetrating to the basket to look for teammates, and then the mid-range kind of naturally presented itself because they would back off of him. They didn't want him to get all the way to the rim for a layup, but they stayed with the three-point shooters, which left him open for some 15-footers, which he was able to bury. And so it's taking what the defense gives you, and it's like these games get really tense late, right? And it's like the NBA regular season's all threes and layups, but then you get into playoff games, and the teams that have guys who can score in the mid-range oftentimes are successful, guys who can get their own shot. And these TBT games get really intense late because they're playing for $2 million. And so sometimes those are the shots that present themselves, and having a guy who can knock them down is a big advantage.
And I love how, like, these individual possessions, offensively and defensively, they carry more weight because there's not the reliance of, hey, if the clock just runs out, we're headed to overtime and anything can happen. Like, no, the game has to end on a made shot, and so clamping up and then making sure you come through offensively in the clutch. Look, this is what the Elam Ender, the TBT, is all about. Another name, of course, we've got to mention it. QJ Peterson had all 8 points in the Elam Ender, and he, capped it off with a nice three. He had hit a deep three as well moments ago and kind of raced back down the floor defensively, had a great celebration. It looked like he was maybe shooting some imaginary guns out there. QJ Peterson was fired up. Coke Arena was as well. Like, he had 16 points when this one was all said and done. QJ, I think a little bit kind of, coincided, like you said, with the team's success in Marcus Keene's down quarters. QJ Peterson, I think, proved himself. He is the second best scorer on the Aftershocks, and he's a guy that you can trust in the fourth and final quarter in the Elam Ender.
It ended up being 9 points even in the Elam Ender because he ended it on a three.
Yeah.
So they went over. He also had a 3-point play. He had 2 threes and a 3-point play in the Elam ending. So it was heady stuff. Now, he's struggled a little bit with the turnovers, but he does bring something to the floor that Marcus Keene doesn't. QJ Peterson's athletic, right? Defensively and challenging shots and getting rebounds, he can do things that Marcus Keene can't. Now, I kind of like them both on the floor together because Marcus Keene is a great scorer, but when you watch him on defense, he's a step slower than a guy like QJ Peterson or even Chauncey Jenkins because he's a little bit of an older player and he's more of an offensive-minded player, and he's 5'9" as well. And so now when you get Keene and Frankamp working together, you're maybe lacking on perimeter defense a little bit more than you'd like to be. And so putting QJ Peterson out there with Keene at times, which is what they did in the Elam ending, might make sense for the Aftershocks as this tournament progresses.
Here's a thought for tonight's game as it relates to the Aftershocks. And, of course, there's the Jayhawks hoop side of this. We may have the chance to ask Hannah Whetstone about that here in just a little bit. Yes, in about 5 to 10 minutes or so, we'll have Hannah Whetstone on from Cake Sports, a relatively new addition to Cake Sports. We've been having a ton of fun with her here in recent weeks. But here's a question for you tonight. Do you think we're getting enough out of sort of the big golden age, big three here on the Aftershocks? That is Connor Frankamp, Rashard Kelly, and Marcus McDuffie. The reason I asked that question is, look, there was a sequence where Rashard Kelly and Marcus McDuffie, I would even say it was the propeller to victory when Marcus McDuffie got down and dirty on the ground, sort of a loose ball. He gets after it, squirts loose, and Rashard Kelly does the same thing. He picks it up off the floor after he dove on it, outlet pass up the floor. Connor Frankamp at a nice dish. Look, the team is playing great team basketball. I almost think that this big three here is maybe just a little bit too much unselfish here. They had 8 total shots between the three of them, combining for 11 points. Once again, McDuffie, Kelly, and Frankamp. I think you can maybe get a little bit more out of these guys. I'm not saying jack them up, but look, Coach Gary Squires was saying, look, throughout the broadcast, there was multiple times there where Connor Frankamp would maybe pass up a shot, pass up a decent look, and maybe the next guy who got just as good of a look didn't quite hit the jumper. I think there's maybe a little bit more meat on the bone, so to say, with those guys.
Possibly, yeah. And listen, I would agree on 2 out of the 3, right? Okay. I think Rashard Kelly's played really well, and he's never been known as like a huge scorer, take a bunch of shots guy. But he's leading the team in rebounds, tied with Marcus Santos Silva.
We'll take it.
He's getting on the floor, and he initiates the offense from time to time, which helps take some pressure off of Keene and some of the guards on a rebound, on a fast break opportunity. I think Rashard Kelly's done what you want him to do. Connor Frankamp could be a little bit more aggressive shooting. I think like if Connor Frankamp has an open 3 and somebody else is open as well, you want Frankamp to take it, right? You don't want him to make that extra pass for the next guy to take it. And there was a couple of times where I thought he was open on the wing and he passed it to the corner for the next guy to take it. And that's not what you need. And he's got gravity on the floor. So if he would, like, he's not always getting open looks, right? He's not the most athletic guy on the floor. He's not the biggest guy on the floor. So when he gets a pass, if he doesn't have some space, it's hard for him to get it. But one shot fake from him and a drive does a lot for the Aftershocks offense. So maybe a little bit more like shot fake, drive, be more aggressive offensively that way, and he can pass for some easy buckets. That could help. As far as Marcus McDuffie goes, like Marcus McDuffie's a really good energy guy. He's the heart and soul of this team, maybe. I think at this point in their careers, Rashard Kelly is like he's more physically imposing and rebounding wise and defensive wise. He brings more to the table. McDuffie's more of a scorer probably, but some of the problems I've had with McDuffie in the past have been getting a little bit too aggressive on offense and taking some out of character shots or some tough shots where you could get a better look. So I don't mind the way he's playing, just like letting other people get involved and getting in where he can. So out of the three, the one that I would really want to be more aggressive offensively would be Connor Frankamp.
Going to Friday night, once again, a 73-67 victory in Game 3, the closeout contest there in Koch Arena. The Shocker alum gets it done over the New Mexico alumni. So looking here, it also went down on the same day. 62-55, Jayhawks, JHX Hoops, whatever you want to call the KU alumni squad against Purple Rain of K-State. Look, guys, Purple Rain opened things up early last week with a dominant 20-point victory over KU. And this rivalry, this Sunflower Showdown, if you will, just completely flipped on its head. Zeke Mayo kind of carries this squad late. You got a nice performance there from Jacob Hanna, Frank Mason, another key name here on this team. Look, the Elam Ender shows it all. 13-2, you outscore Purple Rain. And Jayhawks Hoops did this with Billy Preston going 1 of 14 from the floor. I mean, this was impressive stuff. I almost kind of feel bad a little bit for Michael Beasley. He had 6 blocks in the first half. He just about set a record there in the TBT. That's got to be a half record in the basketball tournament for blocks. He had 17 points. Beasley 6 of 14 overall. He just didn't really get the help from the supporting cast he was looking for. But all credit where it's due to Jayhawks Hoops. And I believe forcing the first ever Jayhawks Aftershock matchup in the TBT.
It's the first ever. When it comes to JHX Hoops, you got to look at Frank Mason III because the thing about we've had former NBA players playing TBT older in their career and afterwards. But the reality about TBT, it's more like the college game than the NBA game. And Frank Mason III was a national player of the year in college. He's not just another good college player. He was the best player in the entire country in 2017. And so that's a guy that knows how to put a team on his back and go get a win. And when it comes to Elam endings, right, you sometimes need that kind of guy. And so that, like, if anything scared me about JHX Hoops for this matchup for the Aftershocks, it would be Frank Mason III, just because if you watched him play in college, you know he took over games at times, and you do have to watch out for that with JHX Hoops. I checked the now that I found out this stuff is bettable, right? TBT's bettable. I was like, okay, what do the national people think about this game? What do the experts think, so to speak? Aftershocks are favored by 4.5. They're minus 218 on the money line.
I know we were 12.5-point favorites for Game 2, and that was a big disappointment. And then about 7.5, real close to the spread there for Game 3.
4.5's not real big. That's basically they're saying we'll give you 4.5 for Koch Arena. They're saying the teams are about even, I would feel.
But the Lions, last year's championship, I mean, you hang the banner, you demolish the enchantment. Last Monday, a week ago, by 21 at a 36-point lead. It's the expectations you're not living up to, but you're still getting a victory. You can get right back on track with a key win tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. You play well, and then you probably have to go on the road, or you do have to go on the road to Kentucky. So take advantage of your last home game until the championship where you could come back home.
Hannah Whetstone joins us next here in the Press Box.
Call the Press Box now on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines at 522-1410.
The Press Box on KGSO.
KGSO is back with the second annual SC Wichita Cares for Kids, coming up August 27th and 28th. Join Wichita's sports station as we support the Children's Miracle Network. Hear their powerful stories and help support our children in Wichita. It's the second annual SC Wichita Cares for Kids, August 27th and 28th. And it's brought to you by
Truck Stuff, Jewelry Savers, Davis Liquor Outlet, the Wichita Technical Institute, the Sugar Shack, and Wichita Sports Station KGSO.
Where'd you get that grin? Right above your chin. You know the place. Puts a smile on your face, and he's the one for frozen custard fun. fresh every hour. It's your happy power. Top your day with a smile at Andy's.
Did you know my frozen custard is made fresh every hour? Or that our toppings are baked daily right in our stores? It's how we top your day with a smile at Andy's.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like public works supervisor.
Hey, this waterman is under a ton of pressure. Did you ever fix it?
Yeah, 3 layers of duct tape. Wait, should I have added a 4th layer?
This is a job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
America is turning 250, and we're celebrating all month long at Midwest Kia. Join us for our Stars, Stripes, and Savings Sales event, where we're honoring America's 250th birthday with incredible savings throughout July. Celebrate extra savings on every new Kia that's built right here in America, including the award-winning Sportage, Sorento, Telluride, hybrid models, and the electrified EV6 and EV9 models. And no birthday party is complete without a present. This July, purchase any new or pre-owned vehicle and get a $250 gas gift card. It's our way of helping you enjoy the summer road ahead. Plus, every new Kia comes with that unbeatable 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. But hurry, this special Independence Day offer and the $250 gas gift card won't last forever. Visit MidwestKia.com. And remember,
we want to see ya in a Midwest Kia.
See dealer for details. Offer ends July 31st. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty.
Wichita's sports leader, KGSO, is brought to you by Devon James. Devon James Injury Lawyers. Call 888-8888.
That's 888-8888.
The TBT tournament is here, and we have you covered. This is Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
Gonna make you wonder why you even try. Hard times. Gonna take you down and left for you to cry. And I still don't know how I even survived. Hard times. And now to get your rock bottom.
Welcome on back. It is the Press Box on KGSO. Yeah, hard times. If you got bounced in the first round of the TBT, look, rumor has it that, one Sasha Bushka, I even myself have seen some K-State fans trying to downplay what is the TBT basketball tournament after losing to JHX Hoops. But look, to each their own. Let's get the opinion of Cake Sports' Hannah Whetstone. Hannah, how are you?
I am great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely not a problem. Hannah, I kind of want to pick up there where we left off. What do you think the mentality is from Wildcat Nation about the TBT? We're seeing certain fans complain online. I'm seeing people still go after one Jacob Poland for not playing. You got some of these, farm-bred kids here in Kansas. They love their K-State football. They like the basketball program when it's good, but maybe now the TBT team isn't doing so solid. They're sort of shying away. How do you? You were recently up there. You're a K-State alum. You've been hearing about the TBT for a little bit of time now. How much do you think Wildcat Nation appreciates the TBT after maybe this first round exit here in a heartbreaking best of 3?
Yeah, well, I've been seeing the discourse online, and honestly, as a K-State fan personally, I think it's a little disappointing to see maybe the comments from some people that are K-State fans, because I think you kind of have to stand on the loss. And I think that if K-State had won or Purple Rain had won, the narrative would be completely different, right? Like, we're a basketball school, right? Like, all of these things. But I think because of the loss, that's causing fans to try to dismiss it. Oh, it's not that big of a deal that Jayhawks Hoops beat us because, it doesn't really matter. It's just TBT. And I would really push back against this. Like, I think that people coming after Jacob Pullen is wrong. I think that, as a, fan base, they have to be okay with losing, but still stand 10 toes behind the team that we did have, right? And support Michael Beasley and Xavier Sneed and all these guys that, put on the purple again for them in Bramlage Coliseum. So I think that there's a lot of perspectives there. The biggest thing I think as a K-State fan is not only are people coming after Jacob Pullen on Twitter, he's clearly seeing it because he's responding to people, basically being like, listen, you don't know the full story. You don't know exactly what you're talking about. And I just don't think that's any way to treat a school's all-time leading scorer, right? Like
100%.
that's my perspective on that.
Yeah. I think two things can be true, right? I think like if the players, and there's plenty of K-State players that came back and played for Purple Rain, if they think it's important enough to come back and do it and represent their university, then I think it's wrong of the fans to kind of dismiss it as something that's not important after a loss, after that fact. But also, like, if Jacob Pullen wasn't able to make an appearance, right, it doesn't change the fact that he's the school's all-time leading scorer, and you should have respect for that. But you can't have it both ways where it's like it's not important, but we're also mad at Jacob Pullen for not doing it. And so it's got to be kind of one or the other. But regardless, JHX Hoops and Aftershocks take the floor tonight. You're now reporting for Cake News here in Wichita. So talk to us a little bit about how you feel the energy is in Wichita for this sort of matchup in TBT.
Well, I think that there's a lot of energy surrounding this game tonight. Just seeing on Twitter, at the box office, the line out the building for tickets to tonight's game. I think that a lot of people are going to be there, whether they are Aftershocks fans or Jayhawks fans. I think that it being an in-state matchup, it's the first time these two teams have played each other in TBT. I think that it's going to be a packed house, is my hope. I think that both teams are deserving of that energy by fans. And, again, it being two local teams makes it all the more reason for people to, put themselves in the roundhouse tonight. So the energy is good. I think that, even just hearing the Aftershocks talk after they beat the Enchantment on Friday night, I know that they seem really locked in. They're ready for tonight. They talked a lot about feeling the energy from the fans that were there on Friday night and hoping to carry that into tonight as well. So I think on a lot of fronts, it's really exciting for the state of Kansas and for Wichita, and I think it's going to be a good one. I'm very excited.
Talking with Hannah Whetstone from Cake Sports. Now, Hannah, I'm not sure if you had the chance to watch the 2025 TBT and the Aftershocks run, but to kind of describe it, there was a way that they just felt invincible throughout these games, and they never really trailed by too much, and even some of these championship-level contests, semifinals and finals, I won't say they cruised to victory, but it wasn't even their toughest matchups. It feels like the Aftershocks kind of were finally stunned back on Thursday night, and I'm not sure if it was more the Enchantment just kind of working really hard and practicing and showing a different look, or if it was the Aftershocks sort of just assuming victory there for Game 2. But Game 3, you're trailing once again early. Sasha and I are thinking maybe this is over. The WSU alum are just cooked out there. They come back to win. Where are you at with this team right now? Like, X's and O's wise, what's really stuck out to you? We kind of highlighted, hey, Marcus Keene got back on track there in that second half. And Marcus Santos Silva was awesome off the bench. What are some other trends with this team that you're noticing right now?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is even in small stretches of the game, you can very clearly identify players like, taking responsibility or authority out there, I guess, and having identity within the team. I think about stretches that Marcus Keene goes on where he is like demanding on the court, and it is so impressive. You mentioned Marcos Santos Silva, right? Same thing. And then I think about QJ Peterson scoring all 9 points in the Elam ending, right? Like that's a really good example right there of somebody understanding the situation and saying, I'm going to make this happen for my team, and kind of, willing themselves and their team into, a position to win. And so that is kind of like my biggest takeaway is that in both their win back on last Monday or on Friday, that when it's needed, there is somebody, it could be somebody different every night. I think it could be somebody new tonight that is going to step up and be the answer for them. But I also think that could point to, kind of the versatility or I guess, all the weapons that this team has, that there are so many guys on this team that could go out there and we could very easily say they will be the leading scorer tonight. They will score all 9 points in the elim ending. And I'm not sure that, every other team in TBT has that. They might have 2 or 3 guys, but I feel like this is a deep roster and a lot of players that are really capable out there.
Yeah, I definitely think the Aftershocks go deeper than most teams with kind of a full 10-man rotation and even Trey Wade from time to time. And it's not just we're putting 10 guys on the court. It's they can all be effective in their own ways. But one of those 10 guys, Jacob likes to call him the Wheat Mamba, Connor Frankamp.
Look, that's what Wichita calls him. I'm just joining in.
I hear it from you a lot, so that's all I'm saying.
It's awesome.
The Wheat Mamba, Connor Frankamp. Listen, before he was the Wheat Mamba, he was a KU player, right? Out of high school, he went to play for the Kansas Jayhawks. Do you think there's a little bit of extra juice in this game for him tonight? Him and Frank Mason were actually at KU together, and he's been a guy who does what the team needs, but nothing electrifies a Coke Arena crowd like a Connor Frankamp 3. I have to imagine he's maybe a little bit more aggressive tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely think that there is, a little more maybe juice for Connor Frankamp tonight, knowing it's against Kansas. He obviously has, a deep understanding of what, as a Wichita State fan, being KU looks like, right? Whether it's, collegiately or in TBT. On top of that, yeah, he and Frank Mason were freshmen 2013. And so, them going against each other now, I think is really exciting. Maybe he's seeing some old friends, but, maybe there's some rivalry there, right? Like we want to, I want to win now. And I do think it's cool to kind of look at how they both started at KU and then carved different paths for themselves. Connor obviously becoming a pretty prominent figure in Wichita State basketball, and same for Frank Mason in the Kansas basketball landscape, right? Like one of the most, not the most decorated Kansas basketball player of all time. And so, I think that is one of the most interesting storylines of tonight, and something that I know Kansas basketball and the state of Kansas are very excited to see.
All right, Hannah, I'm going to change gears here. I'm going to go to the Kansas City Chiefs, and of course, there's a big-time storyline as it relates to the coaching staff. I think we're going to save that probably for the next segment. We won't give you the toughest of questions here, just early, sort of in your tenure coming on the radio and getting used to that. So we'll go with the smooth news of the offseason, maybe even unexpected for Red Kingdom, and that is Mahomes' return, as last Wednesday he got the clearance by Dr. Dan Cooper, and he's the exact guy who performed the surgery, just about 7-8 months ago. This comeback from Mahomes, look, there was the question, there was the anxiety from the fan base. Just last week we were having the conversation, hey, is Justin Fields going to maybe even be your plan up until the bye? I think this news kind of puts that to rest. Mahomes had a very interesting little quote, and he was saying it in regards to strength training individually, probably not running around on the football field, but he says he felt stronger. He feels right now stronger than he's ever felt before. Do you think there's some truth to that? And just how kind of surprised are you to hear that Mahomes is already back practicing with the Chiefs?
Well, I said this last week too. I am not surprised at all.
Wow.
Many years that Patrick Mahomes loves football possibly more than anyone else on the field. Of course, he has done everything in his power to get back to playing as quickly as possible. I don't think that should be a surprise to anyone. Now, a little over 230, remarkable, but I am not surprised that he wanted to get back that quickly. And I think that the strength thing is an interesting quote from him, and that he feels stronger maybe than he ever has been, or, stronger than he was before. And while I think that could be true from like a physicality, standpoint, he's been training really hard, obviously, in the off season. And I suppose, I'm not a medical professional, but when you sustain an injury like that, then you're going to strengthen all the muscle groups around it to make sure that you don't tear your ACL again, right? That would be the hope. But I also think coming back from an injury like that takes a good amount of mental strength as well. So I'm going to guess that in his mind, he's feeling really good about the recovery and about starting training camp again. So, I mean, of course, that quote is what every Chiefs fan wants to hear, is that their MVP, right? Their leader out there is back and feeling good. But I think that mentally, I would guess that Patrick Mahomes has, overcome some big obstacles, and he feels probably more confident now than before.
I think he looks great. I'll ask you this: sometimes, Mahomes is either one or two in the best quarterbacks in the league, and some people are starting to want to put Josh Allen above him. That's fine, maybe in terms of right now, but in terms of accomplishments, it's actually not close between him and anyone else in the league. But I wonder if Mahomes is starting to hear the whispers, and we'll see where he comes in this NFL Top 100 list. Do you think it's kind of like a scorched earth season for Patrick Mahomes, where he comes out and he's like, I'm just going to prove to everyone that I'm still the best quarterback in the league and I'm going to win the MVP and that sort of thing? Or is it going to be a little bit tougher to come back from this injury than people are giving it credit for?
That's a good question. That will absolutely be Patrick Mahomes' mindset of, I'm here to prove people wrong. Josh Allen does not have a Super Bowl ring. I mean, I think that his mindset absolutely would be put some respect on his name, recognize what he's done before, and that he's not, I think he'd want to prove that he's not past his prime, right? That his best days could be ahead of him, which is hard to believe, right? As a multiple-time Super Bowl MVP too, right? But I don't know. I feel like I go back and forth because, I mean, anybody on the Chiefs is going to tell you that they're, ready to win the AFC and, right, all of these things. But I really think that this is something where only time will tell. But the mindset right now absolutely is we're going to be back and better than before.
Yeah. What scares me a little bit is I think Mahomes, people have kind of thought he was going to have that mindset for a few seasons now, right? Because numbers-wise, he's been down for a few seasons, and it's kind of stayed that way. So I worry about him bouncing back in that regard. I do think in this regard, he was always going to have to transition into more of a straight pocket passer at some point in his career as he aged. Maybe this just speeds him along to that point earlier and helps him last longer in his career down the line.
Yeah, gives him an opportunity to be great, I think, in new ways as well.
Right.
Hannah, I'll warn you, I don't know if that was the answer that Sasha was looking for.
It's okay.
He just wants you
I
to
want her honest opinion. That's the only answer I'm looking
Chiefs
for.
Right back into the Super Bowl. I think she's a Chiefs supporter, but she's smart. A little skeptical, a little cautious.
And I was more referring to individual performance by Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying they're for sure going to win the Super Bowl or anything like that, but we'll see how it plays out come season.
Give this gal a follow at Whetstone Sports. That's with a WH, the Dry Rock, H-Dub, Hannah Whetstone. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks for having me on.
Thanks,
no problem. We'll see you
Have
tonight.
some TBT tonight.
Let's go.
This segment of the Press Box is brought to you by Wichita Clear Bra, the ultimate car care and protection. Online at wichitaclearbra.com.
The Press Box on KGSO.
This is The Herd.
You got to be consistent.
With Colin Cowherd.
Mic check. They went to NFL coaches, executives, general managers, and scouts. And they asked them, who are the 10 best quarterbacks in the league? Where's Sam Darnold? And that's what's really interesting. Even the GMs in this league don't know what the hell to do with Sam Darnold. Back-to-back 14 wins and a Super Bowl.
This is The Herd.
Weekdays at 11 a.m. right here on KGSO and on the SC Wichita app.
Welcome to Halligan's second location. Halligan's is now open at 1106 South Seneca in Wichita. It's the same Halligan's experience that you know and love, but it's now bigger and better than ever. Come join us for happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. with half-price drinks and appetizers. Plus enjoy daily food specials and a menu packed with customer favorites. Burgers, steaks, tacos, and appetizers. Halligan's Wichita, 1106 South Seneca. Be happy, behave, or be gone.
Professional excavators and homeowners, safety always comes first, and safe digging is no accident. So before you begin your next digging project, remember to call Kansas 811 to have your underground utility lines marked for free. Know what's below. Call 811 before you dig. So play it safe, put down the shovel, pick up the phone, and call 811 first. This message is brought to you by Kansas 811, reminding you that no matter if your digging project is big or small, don't make a judgment call. Always call 811 before you dig.
Get notified of special programming, local games, and great promotions by downloading the KGSO app today. Just search SC Wichita in your app store.
That's what happens when you bring a Wildcat to Wichita. Hannah Whetstone of Cake Sports. Shout out to her for joining us here on the Press Box Mondays around 4:30. Fellas, it's a big day in the sports world. We're just reminding you throughout the afternoon, hey, we are broadcasting the first ever TBT matchup with JHX Hoops, of course, the KU alumni, and our very own Aftershocks, the Shocker alumni, tonight, 7:45 pregame. Myself, Jay-Z, Sasha B as well, Coach Gary Squires. I think he's joining us there in the Roundhouse. We hope you join us as well here on this station and being there in attendance, of course, if you can make it. We're going to get into some Chiefs talk here in a moment, but I think we got someone queued up on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines. Let's test you out. How you doing?
Good evening.
What's up, A-Train?
A-Train.
First of all, I want to say, before we get into this Chiefs talk, I want to say, go Aftershocks. And let's shock the JHX, whatever they want to call themselves. I guess everybody's trying to come up with three-letter acronyms for their teams now. I mean, we got PHX, Phoenix, and SAC, Sacramento. So I guess the Jayhawks want to be JHX. I mean, that sounds so generic, but just give them a good old-fashioned generic.
Is that a basketball team or an airport? JHX.
Right. Right. LAX. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like the bird has landed. But I heard you talking a little bit of Chiefs there, and I kind of want to keep that train going because you said something very interesting. Patrick Mahomes, a pocket passer. I want to add to that, though. That's not far-fetched, and that could make him probably even more dangerous because of the X factor, Kenneth Walker. I mean, you got a guy, we've seen him on full display in the Super Bowl. He's not one of those guys that's just going to be gung-ho and just reckless abandon, run right into it. He's a very patient runner. So he's going to pick his spots, and he's going to get you some yards. And then if your receiving core is healthy, this version of Patrick Mahomes is the one that does not have to be the Swiss Army knife to end all be all. He can utilize his tools. And with the running game, to me, that just makes this team a little bit more dangerous. So, yes, I could see the Chiefs making not a later run, but a deep run in the playoffs, and it won't take them forever to get back. So, don't count them out. Don't count them out by a long mark.
I won't do it.
Don't count them out.
Anthony, here's what I'll say on the point of Mahomes scrambling outside of the pocket, and you bring up a really good point there with a running back addition of Kenneth Walker. This might be the most productive rushing attack that Patrick Mahomes has had here in his time with Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, I think Kenneth Walker is going to be an absolute security blanket, but you want to talk about, Mahomes exiting the pocket. Look, I really hope that, he kind of, takes the mentality of not wanting to try to go out on a limb, right? Go out on a branch and try to prove the naysayers wrong and scramble more times than he's actually used to just because he's trying to prove a point. I don't think that's going to be Patrick Mahomes. I think he's calm, cool, collected. He's going to take, at week 1, week 2, week 3 at a time here. But I'm hoping that we don't see Mahomes. Honestly, if I was a Chiefs fan, I wouldn't want Mahomes to scramble past the line of scrimmage one time until week 6 coming out of the bye. I think you don't even have to leave the pocket against Miami or Las Vegas.
Yeah, and listen,
I'm gonna tell you.
Go ahead.
And I'm gonna tell you this point right here because I remember a few years back when Dak Prescott came off an injury and he wasn't as much, but the one time he did and he scored a touchdown on the run. C.D. Lamb came out and said, "I don't ever want to see my quarterback run the ball."
Yeah,
because it wasn't that he couldn't do it, but it was more about preserving him. And you have to think about it like this too. We got the preseason coming up. Do you protect Patrick Mahomes?
He ain't playing in the preseason
because that becomes another.
He's not playing a snap, and the Chiefs have typically used him in the preseason. I don't think there's any way they put him out there in the preseason. He's not doing that.
Don't do that.
But Mahomes has already said he knows he's going to have to change his game a little bit and not scramble as much, and so he's not going to be out there trying to prove anyone wrong. I'll tell you, it could be kind of a blessing in disguise to curtail what's been going on the last few years, because last year he had the most rushing yards of his career, and he only played 14 games. And so the scrambling has actually been going up instead of down as he's aged, and this might be a good, curtail point where it's like, hey, listen, we got to stop doing this. It's got to be about our run game with the actual running backs and our offensive line taking care of business. And they went out and addressed that a little bit with getting Kenneth Walker and drafting a running back. And I think Mahomes knows he's going to have to win from the pocket. If he does move around a little bit, I want it to be moving around to avoid the rush and then throwing the ball. We don't need him out there getting tackled or anything like that.
Right. And that's the part I think will actually make him dangerous. And on top of that, also having that running game, I think that's going to actually even do wonders for another X factor in aging Travis Kelce.
Yeah, maybe.
Because now you have the run game to worry about, you have the receiving core to worry about, and everybody was talking about, well, Kelce is dropping a lot of passes. I don't think you will see that coming from Kelce this year. So that's all I have to say. Also, I do want to ask this: what is the mindset in Kansas City in Chiefs Kingdom? Because we know the tragic news with what happened with
we'll hit on it now.
His son's tragic.
We'll hit on that.
All right.
Thanks, Anthony.
All right, we'll see you.
Just real quick on Kelce. If the linebackers have to come up a little bit because of the run game, it could help him some. We'll see. But go ahead with the news of the day.
The wife of Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy was allegedly shot by the couple's son.
I guess you have to
Sunday
say
night in
allegedly,
Virginia.
but I think it's pretty much known that she was shot. The allegedly part is who did it. But even that, I think, is pretty well documented. But, as Bieniemy's, it's a sad deal, like a family deal like that. If his wife was shot, that would be sad no matter what. But the fact that his son did it, that's going to be a tough one for
Elijah
Eric Bieniemy.
Zion. Mia, the wife, 57. Elijah Zion, the son, 27. Arrested and charged with malicious wounding, use of a firearm in commission of a felony, and discharge of a firearm inside of a dwelling.
That's not something you just get over if you're Eric Bieniemy, right? Your wife got shot. It's bad enough. Your son did it. He's going to be dealing with this for a long time, way beyond this football season. The rest of his life, he's going to be thinking about this.
Stable condition, serious injuries, multiple gunshot wounds. No one saw this coming. Yeah. I think the football will remain the football, but for some time, Bieniemy's going to need to step away. We'll see you in the second hour.
KGSO is back with the second annual SC Wichita Cares for Kids. Coming up August 27th and 28th. Join Wichita's sports station as we support the Children's Miracle Network. Hear their powerful stories and help support our children in Wichita. It's the second annual SC Wichita Cares for Kids, August 27th and 28th. And it's brought to you by
Truck Stuff, Jewelry Savers, Davis Liquor Outlet, the Wichita Technical Institute, the Sugar Shack, and Wichita Sports Station KGSO.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
When you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And there's no one that knows that feeling like Derby Allstate agent Mark May, because he works every day to get people like you the coverage they need with the savings they deserve. Contact him for your free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
Power up with Allied Battery. Whether you're hitting the water, mowing the yard, or running heavy-duty equipment, Allied Battery has the power you need to get the job done. From boats to lawnmowers to work trucks, if it needs a battery, Allied Battery has it in stock and ready to go. Farmers, don't get caught in the field without power. Make sure your ag equipment is running strong this season. Reliable, affordable, ready when you are. Allied Battery, your source for dependable power. Stop by today just south of Pawnee on Seneca and get charged up.
Phil's Coins and Bullion, Kansas's premier bullion dealer.
Do you need to get rid of some jewelry? Don't waste any time and stop by Phil's Coins and Bullion today. Phil's Coins will give you top dollar for any of your unwanted jewelry. Whether it's gold or silver, get the most out of the unwanted jewelry in your drawer and do it with Phil's Coins and Bullion, 9344 West Central Avenue.
Phil's Coins and Bullion, philscoins.com.
Right now, Rusty at Ford is making it easier than ever to save. Get 2.9% financing for 84 months plus a $1,000 rebate on all 2026 F-150s. With dealer discounts and 2 years maintenance on us, now's the perfect time to drive home in a new truck. Looking for something else? We have 500 new and used vehicles to choose from. And don't forget, we'll give you up to $5,000 over KBB for your trade. Visit rustyatford.com. Simply the best place to buy. With approved credit, 2 years or 25,000 miles maintenance. See dealer for details. Raptor's not included.
Did you receive a call or message that mentioned Social Security and demanded immediate action? Did the caller know your Social Security number or other personal information and tell you that your Social Security number had been used in connection with the crime? Did you feel worried that your Social Security number might be suspended, your bank account might be frozen or seized, or you could be arrested? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, demand your personal information, or instant payment. Email or text you pictures or documents, or use a real government official's name to gain your trust. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Do not be fooled. Hang up. Ignore them. Report this criminal activity to the Social Security Administration Office of the Inspector General at oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. Tax.
This is Wichita's sports station, K230BY, 93.9 FM, 1410 AM, and 99.7 HD3. KGSO Belle Plaine, Wichita. Broadcasting live from the KGSO studios in West Wichita.
I feel more informed when I listen.
This is the Press Box on Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
The Press Box on KGSO.
4 o'clock hour of the press box. Into the books. Our dose of the program has begun here. 4 to 6, Monday through Friday. Oh, man, we still got a lot to get into here this hour.
I like how you said dose. That's a good cross-promotion for La Raza. If you know what dose means, you can go over to 102.5 FM and listen to La Raza, some Spanish radio.
It's the number between 3 and 1, right? It's
otherwise known as 2.
It's 2.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we're always shouting out the SC Wichita app.
You mean between Uno and Tres?
Yes, if I can count that far. Yes, I can count that far in Spanish. Cuatro, cinco.
All right. That's
the point
enough.
was made. 102.5 La Raza. If you know Spanish on the SC Wichita app or your radio FM. Oh, we got 1480 KQAM. Staring at Andy Hoosier just wrapping up his show. That's also on the SC Wichita app for News Talk. And look, 99.7 Hank FM, classic country. Come on down. And, of course, KGSO, your longest-running sport talk station in the ICT. 21 years strong. Still kicking it here as your sports leader. We talk some TBT. First hour of the program. We had Hannah Whetstone to back us up from Cake Sports. Guys, Jayhawks Hoops, Aftershocks tonight, 7:45. Pregame start, 8 p.m. tip here on this station if you want to tune in. And, of course, head on over to the Roundhouse. I can't wait to see what the crowd looks like. I know it's hot as ever. It's 101 today. Maybe even 102. It is absolutely scorching out here. I mean, even the nights are a little stiff and stuffy. But, hey, man, I got to think, a historic battle in the TBT. The first ever matchup with the KU and the Shocker alumni. And this would just be it's not really. But we've only had 2 matchups in the last 33 years with the actual Shockers and the actual Jayhawks in men's basketball in the NCAA. So, look, this is history coming to Cook Arena tonight.
Yeah, listen, the good news is Coke Arena is air-conditioned, right? So if you're worried about the heat, come out to Coke Arena, get in the AC. It's way better than going to a game in February when it's 0 degrees outside and walking through that parking lot. I still think you should go in February, but weather-wise, I'll walk around in the heat before I walk around in the cold any day of the week. So get out to Coke Arena, have a good time. Even if you're a KU fan, heaven forbid, get out there. We need butts in the seats on either side, but it should be a little bit different atmosphere than what we're used to for TBT. It's usually exclusively Aftershocks fans. I think we'll see some roars on both sides tonight. I still think there will be more Shocker fans in the building or Aftershocks fans in the building, but both it should be kind of a neutral partisan crowd, so that'll be fun to see as well.
It is the final day of our comprehensive coverage series. Of course, we didn't have a Friday show. We're going to talk about LeBron to the 76 series here next segment and maybe get back to the TBT to round it up. But hey, our Friday shows, kind of the last day of the weeks there in the comprehensive coverage series, we would sort of play the games of going through most polarizing at best non-QB, even kind of remind the folks of the order in which we have the teams in the NFC West, or AFC West finishing here, the final division. We've made it through. Kind of just a quick recap before I start the tunes. I've got the Raiders going 5-12. I got the Chiefs going 10-7. I got the Chargers going 9-8, and the Broncos winning the division at 11-6. You have the Raiders going 4-13. You've got the Chiefs winning the division at 12-5. Sasha, you got the Chargers at 10-7, and the Broncos a notch below me at 10-7 as well. And look, speaking of Coke Arena tonight, man, maybe we see some Charger colors, meaning the Shocker yellow and the Jayhawks blue. You ready to play? You ready to play a little comprehensive coverage? Final day. I'm going to miss this thing. I don't know what we're going to do at 5 o'clock moving forward. We'll find something for you. But let's start with the most polarizing team, man. This is like going through the superlatives at the end of the year. Most likely to succeed, most likely to fail, but we're going with the most polarizing.
I don't know if it's a superlative or I don't know if it's a good thing to be the most polarizing. It could be good, could be bad.
It means
depends on who you're talking to.
It means the media makes a lot of money talking about you.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious, isn't it? Right? Like there's one team in this division that's won 3 Super Bowls recently, and that makes people hate you or like you, right? One way or the other. And that's what polarizing means, right? There's split opinions on you. couple that with the fact that that same team went 6-11 last year, so there's a good reason to think you stink, but there's still a lot of good reasons to think you're really good, and that creates a lot of split opinions. I think the Chiefs are the most polarizing team in this division.
And it's the things away from the football field as well that just double it down with the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I was seeing skits today, people kind of having their fun, not like making fun of anybody, but kind of just reminding you of what has been the Patrick Mahomes experience. Look, this guy has had to deal with injuries to himself, injuries to his teammates, and then everything under the sun. I mean, the Bieniemy thing, the latest. I mean, stuff going on. Like, people are poking at his brother and his wife and his dad. Like, Mahomes has had so many distractions throughout his career that kind of make big-time headlines because they are the Kansas City Chiefs, because he is Patrick Mahomes, and, oh, yeah, he got one of the best tight ends in NFL history back in his prime, dating one of the most famous people on earth in Taylor Swift. You have Rashee Rice, who's kind of maybe the top of the list with off-season cases, right, in the last year or two. This is the definition of probably the most polarizing team in the NFL.
Yeah, I would agree, right? I'm trying to think, if the Patriots have another couple of good years, they'll rival them again, because they were there a few years back, but then they were bad, and they were good again last year. So I think they're up there. The Rams might enter that conversation at some point just because of the superstar nature.
Baltimore.
The Eagles are up there. Baltimore, yeah. So, but yeah, as of right now, I think nobody gets talked about in the media more than the Kansas City Chiefs.
I think the Chargers are a little polarizing, though, because you have a sector of the NFL landscape that year in, year out, and you know this well, believes in the Chargers, right? Whether it's the strength of the roster, whether it's Harbaugh coming on board, whether it's Justin Herbert looking to get back to his 5,000-yard self. Maybe it's the team, hey, you got a healthy Joel and Rashawn Slater for this upcoming season. Maybe some improved weapons. You can maybe paint the case for a Chargers successful season, but when you blow a 28-0 lead in a postseason game and you're just stuck in wild card hell, I mean, that's very polarizing as well.
Yeah, the Chargers themselves are a little polarizing, but really, if you want to break it down to individual players and quarterbacks in particular, Justin Herbert's got to be up there on the list of polarizing quarterbacks, because there's people who love him. They see his 6'6" stature, and he puts up some numbers, and then there's people who are like, listen, the guy has only been to the playoffs 3 times. He lost the first game every single time, including that 28-point blown lead that you talked about. And so there's a lot of differing opinions on Justin Herbert in particular. And Harbaugh's just a weirdo, so that makes it fun to talk about the Chargers too. Jim Harbaugh will give you some of the best sound bites you can think of. I love it when Jim Harbaugh talks to the media.
Jim Harbaugh, if you had dinner with a guy, you would come away saying 2 things. Man, he's got some old man wisdom quotes, go-to advice, but then maybe half of the time you're thinking, did I even dissect anything he just said?
Do you remember Harbaugh's quotes about turkey jive gobblers? They're all just a bunch of turkeys, turkey jive, gobble, turkey. He went on this rant about media or somebody being turkey jive gobblers. And you'll have to look it up after the show or sometime and just listen to it. But I remember it was when he was the 49ers coach. And I was living in the Bay Area at the time, and I heard it live, right? I was listening to the radio when he said it, and I was like, what is this guy even talking about? And then it became like a viral thing. So turkey jive gobblers, Jim Harbaugh.
He's like a successful Adam Gase in a way. John Harbaugh, a little similarly. I saw an intro video he had with the Giants, kind of talking to the team for the first time in the little theater room, which where they go over film, and it kind of took a little hesitancy for the players to smile. I'm like, oh yeah, John, he's to kind of get used to the coach, get used to that nature of.
He's a little less quirky than Jim, I would say.
Right. All right, most polarizing team hands down is the Chiefs. Moving on here.
All right.
If we were kind of creating a team, best non-quarterbacks in this division, because we talked about these quarterbacks all last week, but I'll start here with the forgotten foe. You can't really forget about them because their fan base is pretty loud and nasty, but their heart's back in Oakland. Let's be honest. The Raiders, best non-tight ends. Like the Chiefs, like Kelsey, Chris Jones, I think they kind of had this title for a while. There were some really good defenders here on the Broncos. The Chargers have some studs as well. I might go with a guy who's like definitively one of, if not top two at his position. I'm gonna start with Brock Bowers here.
Yeah, Brock Bowers, and honestly, maybe the best player on the defensive side in this division is Max Crosby, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, ironically, the Raiders might have the best two guys on that side of the ball. When it comes to skill position players, Brock Bowers maybe takes the cake in this division. There's a lot of good offensive linemen in this division, but if you think about it, like, who is the best receiver in this division? It's not an easy answer because there's not really a great answer, right? It's maybe Jalen Waddle. And that's the thing about, like, the Chiefs receiving core is not great, but neither of these other teams. Jalen Waddle's maybe the best in this division. Maybe somebody from the Chargers emerges this year. Maybe Rashee Rice finally has the year people are hoping. The Raiders, I don't think anybody from there is going to end up being the best receiver in the division. So it's an interesting question for sure, which leaves you to the tight ends. And Brock Bowers is better than Travis Kelce at this point in their careers. But after that, I think the Chargers, Gadsden and Njoku came over this year. So there's some good tight ends in this division, but there's a little bit to be desired at the receiver position. There's some decent running backs as well.
Chiefs are used to having a discussion for best DB in the AFC West. I think Delane can be good. But nobody thinks he's good as Pat Surtain right now. Pat Surtain, one of the best corners in the National Football League.
Yeah, and I think Surtain was probably the answer to that even before this offseason. And so, yeah, he's a great man-to-man corner. They can use him to lock down a number one. Chargers, if you look at safeties, they got Derwin James, and he fits in well with their scheme, or did in the past, right? They're going to have a new DC, so that'll be interesting to see what happens with the Chargers there, because Derwin James has had some up and down years over time. I think when it comes to front sevens, you look at the Broncos as the best, but the Chiefs, I like what they've done on the defensive line. Chris Jones still has something in the tank, and they've buoyed him with a lot of big guys that can help him. So I'd look at their defensive line there as well. But in the secondary, yeah, Surtain's probably the cream of the crop in this division.
Last two, Joe Alt, tackle from the Chargers. Nick Benito, linebacker from the Denver Broncos. Pretty good non-QBs in this division.
And if you're going to mention offensive linemen, right? Creed Humphrey's one of the best two centers in the league. It's Linderbaum and Humphrey, and Linderbaum's in the division now too. He's with the Raiders, and so I think you maybe have the best two centers in football in this division. And Joe Alt's a menace over at the tackle spot for the Chargers for sure.
A menace on the football field. Seems like a great guy away from football.
It's a good thing to be a menace in football, I promise. It's a compliment. It's a compliment.
Not to society. All right. Kind of just to go over the order once more, I got the Broncos first.
Yeah.
I have a tie for second. I will, we don't really know how the tiebreakers are going to work out. I'll go ahead and assume Chiefs second seed, Chargers third, Raiders fourth.
Okay. And I think I had a tie at second too, right? I had the Chiefs winning the division. So since you made the Chargers third, I'll throw them a bone and make the Chargers second, the Broncos third.
Wow.
But I have them both at 10-7, so that could go either way. And then the Raiders fourth, of course. That's the one thing we're going to agree on, is that the Raiders are going to be last place in this division. I do and we talked about this when we did the Raiders last Monday. I think we just talked about a lot of non-QB Raiders in that last segment. And if Mendoza I think they're going to get better quarterback play than they had last year. I think it's a team that can make strides towards going into next year. People might not think they're the basement of the division.
Let's create a new category on the fly.
What's that?
You're looking forward to seeing the most. And
team?
No. Individual.
Okay.
And I'm creating this for Ashton Genty, man. Ashton Genty
we
should have won the Heisman over Travis Hunter, in my opinion. And look, Ashton Genty with that Raiders offensive line, I think you started to hear some takes of, oh man, maybe Genty was a guy who peaked in college. Maybe he's a guy who's just he's going to be just a decent running back. Exactly. You can't be a running back if there's no holes to run through. And look, I think Kirk Cousins can at least they're going to send 8 guys in every gap. We can at least, check to a play action, something else, maybe a little screen game for Genty.
And
open that
Lindebaugh.
up. I think Ashton Genty, yes. You bring in one of the highest paid centers of all time from Baltimore. I do think Genty is absolutely going to have an upgrade of a season, and he's just an exciting player to watch. Like the agility he has, the stiff arm he has, 20 yards downfield. The guy can fly in open space. I think Genty's going to have a 1,000-yard season at least.
All right, since you brought up Genty, we kind of glossed over this position earlier. I asked you who the best receiver in the division was. Who's the best running back in this division? So I'll give you.
It's not Dobbins.
You
I'm
got
sorry,
Dobbins
dude.
in Denver
Too
along with
injured.
R.J. Harvey, and then you got Omari in Hampton in for the Chargers, and he had some injuries last year, but looked really promising as a rookie. You've got Genty, the aforementioned, and then you've got Kenneth Walker now in Kansas City. Kansas City has out of those other 3, taking the Broncos out, they've got the veteran guy. And you got the 2 young bucks, second-year players at the other 2 spots.
It is the Super Bowl MVP. It is Kenneth Walker for now. Genty is the highest ceiling.
Yeah.
There's a world where Omari and Hampton, if he's healthy the whole way, and if they use this guy fully, not Vidal, not Mitchell, you could see Omarion maybe with the most scrimmage yards this year.
Yeah, it could be, right? He looked good last year, and if he stays healthy, he's going to put up fantasy numbers for sure. This division is kind of a tale of roster construction, right? Because a lot of the guys we're mentioning are on Denver and Las Vegas, and the reason is Denver hasn't paid Bo Nix yet. Las Vegas has a rookie quarterback, and you've got Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes taking up big cap hits on the Chargers and the Chiefs. So you need those 2 guys to be elite, right? To carry the team, because the rosters can't be as good as the other 2.
Yeah, Mahomes, we've seen his ceiling. He hasn't probably came close to that in the last couple of seasons, although playoff time, he's still the guy you want above anyone else. And then Herbert, I just don't know what's going on with Herbert there. So time will tell with a new coaching situation in Los Angeles. I'm looking forward to seeing maybe Genty the most. Is there a guy
player for me
sticks out to you?
I'm curious about Jalen Waddle, right? What
You
that
can
looks
put
like in
Mahomes
Denver.
if you want.
I want to see Mahomes, but I think we. How about Doug would be too happy about this. I was going to say Emmett Johnson, the Chiefs' second string running back, and see if he can help Kenneth Walker. But I'll try to come up with someone on another team. How about R.J. Harvey? He's slated as the Broncos' number 2 back, but there's a world where he gets more of a role this year alongside J.K. Dobbins. He kind of stepped up late in the year last year. Let's see what he can produce for the Denver Broncos.
So there it's set, man. It is set. Just kind of looking back through as we've completed all 32 teams, all of our division recaps, kind of just seeing where we're far off. I think we're a little far off with the Giants, the New York Football Giants. I got 6 wins. Chuck has 9. You've got 8. The Commanders, I'm a little high on them. I got 10. You've got 8 there. I think we were a little far off with the Chiefs. I think the Panthers as well.
Anything with more than a 2-victory difference between you and me, though? I don't think there is one.
Colts. I've got 6. You've got 9 wins.
Okay, that's the biggest difference right there. And I was
And
giving
then
them
the
the benefit of the
Panthers.
doubt, 9 and 8.
You've got my Carolina Panthers with Bryce Young, top 100 player in the NFL.
What did I have? I don't even remember.
You have them going 7-10, man.
What do you got?
10-7.
All right. Listen.
We believe
they're probably an 8 and 9
in
team.
Canales.
They're probably 8 and 9 or 9 and 8. So we're both going to be. I'm going to be a couple low. You're going to be a couple high. It's fine. We're not that far.
You've
off.
got the Steelers above 500. I've got them winning 7 games.
Okay. See, I think the thing is like a 2 or 3 game difference is actually pretty big because we both took reasonable approaches to it. Like actually looking at like what you think a team's. There's going to be some teams that that only win 3 or 4 games. There's going to be teams that win 13 or 14, but neither of us really went out there and predicted that a lot, right? There's a couple teams that we said 4, but we didn't predict a bunch of 13, 14, 15 win teams because somebody will do that, but it's not reasonable to like look at an NFL season and say this team's going to win 16 games. It's just the odds are against them.
I maybe had the most, I don't know if it's audacious or what you want to call this, like just depressing pick here for the Miami Dolphins. We were actually 3 wins apart for Miami.
You said 2.
You've got 5 wins here somehow with this team with Storm Duck as their X
Everybody
factor.
has a
by
chance
the way,
to win at some point.
2-15 for the Fins for Miami.
Listen, Miami has a new head coach and a new quarterback. You never know what's going to happen with that combination, right?
It could look like Aaron Glenn.
It could go
Sorry,
awful, right?
Halfley.
They could be 0-17. They could win 8, right? Like, it's hard to know with those variables.
John says Genty for sure, most exciting.
Call the Press Box now on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines at 522-1410.
The Press Box on KGSO.
Want to hear more of KGSO? Don't forget to download our app today. Fill out weekly surveys, register to win great prizes, listen live, message our shows, and so much more. Plus, get reminders of special programming and games you don't want to miss. Just find SC Wichita in your app store and make KGSO your new favorite app. It's Wichita's Sports Talk, right on your phone. Download the SC Wichita app today with Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
Wichita Clear Bra, your quality auto spa.
Summer is heating up, and Wichita Clear Bra can get things cooled down for you. The XPEL heat-reducing ceramic tint blocks infrared rays and keeps your car cooler all summer long. Keep your car looking fresh and make it easy to clean with ceramic coating. And don't forget to check out the Wichita Clear Bra detailing services to get the summer started with a fresh ride.
Wichita Clear Bra, your quality auto spa.
Temperatures may be climbing outside, but the prices are dropping at Rusty Egg Ford. Get $8,000 off MSRP on the 2026 Escape Hybrid. Buy for just $28,895. That's great gas mileage and pricing. The Escape Active is $6,200 off MSRP and starts as low as $27,975. Plus, these come with 2 years maintenance on us. Visit RustyEggFord.com. Family owned for over 70 years and simply the best place to buy. See dealer for details.
Transform your backyard into the perfect outdoor escape with Meadowlark Landscaping and Design. This is Doug Downs, General Manager of Steckline Communications, and let me recommend Meadowlark Landscape and Design. From beautiful custom patio installations to fully equipped outdoor kitchens and cozy fire pits, Meadowlark brings your vision to life. Whether you are entertaining guests or just relaxing at home, they'll create a space you'll love for years to come. Call Meadowlark Landscaping and Design today, 316-880-0227. Meadowlark Landscape and Design, where outdoor living begins.
Are you looking for a better healthcare experience this summer? Kingman Healthcare Center is a full-service hospital with a 24/7 emergency room with little to no wait times. Our clinics offer same-day appointments and convenient scheduling for your annual checkups. Don't wait. Make your health a top priority and schedule your appointment today. You won't regret the short drive without the big city traffic. Exceptional care every time. To learn more, visit our website, kingmanhc.com.
Fire sale at the Black Friday Deals and Discount Store on 47th and Broadway. Truckloads of brand new items from Amazon, Walmart, and Target. But for just $10, nearly everything in the store is on sale for just $10 Friday and $7 on Saturday. Electronics like controllers, laptops, headphones, just $10. Name brand clothing and shoes, Stanley Cups, accessories, all kinds of household items, just $10. Come check out the brand new Ashley Furniture for discount price. 120 days, same as cash, $5 down. So don't break your budget and shop today at the Black Friday Deals and Discount Store.
Wichita's sports leader, KGSO, is brought to you by Devon James. Devon James Injury Lawyers. Call 888-8888.
That's 888-8888.
Remember, today you listen to The Press Box on Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
changed her mind. Well, I should have known it wouldn't be alright. But I can't live without her, so I won't even try. If I get drunk, well, I'll pass out on the Lord now.
Oh, welcome on back. Here, the press box on KGSO. Returning from a little AFC West chatter. Comprehensive coverage finally coming to a close. All 8 divisions, all 32 squads. Dino, I missed your comment, man. I apologize. Patriots won't be any good. The Super Bowl curse is real. Look, Dino, I think the Patriots bounced back in the day from losing a couple Super Bowls. They may be okay, and Diana Rossini feeding Vrabel other teams' info.
Yeah, I like that take. That's the best part of that comment.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines. I think I might know who we have, but let's test you out. What is going on?
Hey, how's it going, Jacob?
Jason
What's up,
Conander,
Jason?
WIBW.
Look at
Jason,
that.
I forgot to give you the heads up text that we were going to have you on. Look, our rundown was so
It's all
busy.
good.
We've got the TBT
Yeah,
broadcast with the Aftershocks of the Jayhawks Hoops KU Alumni Squad. Look, normally that's going to be where we would start, but I've gone a full hour and 27 minutes coming back from a weekend, coming back from we didn't even have a Friday show due to the NBC World Series. Jason, I got to start with this, man. This is my first chance to just kind of say it. LeBron James is a Philadelphia 76er. The king, the GOAT to me, the GOAT to a lot of people under 30 years old. He has made a decision, guys. He's chosen, the chosen one is chosen to go to the city of brotherly love. He's completed the process here. Joel Embiid, Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey. Shout out to Dean Wade from K-State, man. Decent bench here with Anthony Simons, LeBaron Philon, a rookie. You got VJ Edgecombe coming off of I believe, top 3 Rookie of the Year finish as well. Joel Embiid. I mean, look, this team is, in theory, loaded. But, Conander, I've seen a couple tweets from you, my man. I think you had a jab. You said, oh, man, this team's going to be real dangerous with Joel Embiid and LeBron James playing 25% of their games. Jason, I'm going to get your take here in a second, man. Here's what I'm going to say. I understand what the Knicks did this past season. I think there's all the right in the world for 76er fans, LeBron James fans to feel like, hey, why can't this team make an NBA Finals? You bring in a top 6, top 7 MVP candidate from last season in Jaylen Brown. You got Tyrese Maxey, who I've had in my top 20, 25 players for some time now. And hey, if Embiid is healthy, look, Celtic fans know what he just did to him a few months back. Conander, I'm going to say, why the heck not can the 76ers go win a championship?
Yeah, why not? I mean, the lineup on paper looks fantastic. I mean, not even the start, really the entire roster is pretty well constructed, not just for this upcoming season, but really for life after LeBron James, whenever he does decide to move on or retire, even though he hasn't even played a game there yet. With all that aside, I think that the Sixers are in really good shape. I think that this is something that can work from a basketball technicality standpoint. You know, the usage rates don't look good on paper together, but that's because these guys were all in different situations last year. Jaylen Brown was carrying the load in Boston. There were nights where Tyrese Maxey was carrying the load in Philadelphia. LeBron James was carrying the load for the majority of the season with the Lakers, with Luka Doncic being out. So, you know, those guys are smart basketball players. They're mature basketball players. You know, they're millionaires. LeBron's close to being a billionaire, and they're going to figure this out from a basketball standpoint and an ego management standpoint. I'm just excited for all of the big ticket matchups that we get coming out of the Eastern Conference now. You know, there's going to be a lot of hype for that first Philly-Boston game, that first Philly-Miami game, that first Philly-Cleveland game. You know, Philly against the Knicks is going to be a must-watch series this year during the regular season. If Kawhi Leonard ends up going to the Raptors, that becomes another intriguing series because LeBron has historically owned the Raptors when he's been in the Eastern Conference. So there's so many aspects of this that are objectively awesome. I feel bad for the people who just don't like LeBron for some reason. It's the silliest thing in sports. But But all that aside, it's a great move for basketball, the NBA, and for those of us who want to see LeBron win another championship or maybe two, this is definitely the best case scenario.
Yeah, I think he definitely chose the spot that gives him the best chance to win a championship. It'll still be tough, right? The East is better than it was, right? I still think the Spurs and the Thunder are the best two teams in the league, but also I think there's this thought process that the Knicks are like elite now, and rightfully so, right? They earned it by winning a championship, but they won 53 games last year, so I wonder if they come back down to earth a little bit. We'll see, but it'll be interesting to see how it all fits together. I'll ask this since we're down this path, right? And I don't know what my opinion on this is one way or the other, but does LeBron put like some undue pressure on himself as a 42-year-old by going to Philly, and now like the ammunition for people who want to downgrade him? And right, you could put me in that category, although I say he's the second best player of all time. I just put Jordan ahead of him, so it's not like I'm looking for him to fail, but does it give people ammunition if he doesn't win a championship in Philadelphia?
Yes, just because this is pretty exclusively going to be viewed as a move to win another title, to bolster his resume. I think that, LeBron said in the statement that he posted on social media, a couple hours after the signing got announced, that he's not doing this for the money, he's not doing this for his family. He's doing this because he loves to play basketball. He loves being, part of a team. He loves the chance of winning another championship. And I think that there's a great chance that the Sixers can do it. Granted, Embiid stays healthy and that they manage him well throughout the regular season, and especially the playoffs. Like, he's never lasted for 3 straight playoff series, and I don't think you can. This will probably be one of the first years where we get to see if he can or not. And so, listen, it's a really fun situation. It's a big market for LeBron to most likely finish off his career in. And again, an advantageous spot for him to try to go and win another championship before it's all said and done.
I didn't think I'd have an immediate follow-up, but are they almost better off if Embiid just gets like a season-ending injury early and they just figure out how to play without him?
No.
Because
absolutely.
But if he's not going to be
not.
there in the playoffs, if they learn how to play with him, and he's never played 3 straight playoff series, you just said it, then what's the point of learning how to play with him if he's not going to be there when it matters to try to win a championship?
Well, first off, bring up a really good point. Second off, he's a very important piece to the puzzle. First of all, he's the longest tenured player on the team by far. He's the embodiment of trust the process. He, was the second draft pick of that regime, and has been there through the really good and the really bad, and now is going to get every chance in the world to win a championship before this thing, either falls apart or really works out. He is a very integral part of what they're putting out there on the court, but also, the image of their organization nationally and globally as a superstar. And, I don't disagree with you that there is a scenario where if he's not going to be there in the playoffs, you're probably better off that these guys get a lot of mileage on their legs and get a lot of experience playing together without him on the court. But the flip side of that is, like, the Sixers are relatively experienced in doing this already, and it worked out pretty well this past postseason. They pretty much didn't have Embiid at all and came back and knocked off Boston, upset them in the second round, and then made it, to the conference finals, took on the Knicks, got swept there, kind of ran out of gas, but that was a team mostly with guys on rookie contracts or resurgent veterans. So it's an exciting spot for the sport, and whether Embiid plays or doesn't or kind of plays, it's going to be a huge storyline, and so I'm there for it.
Kanana, I want to say this before we move on to the TBT. I want to sort of put to rest these claims from Charles Barkley. Got some guys here in recent memory, or recent, past 48 hours or so, maybe like a Tony Allen kind of calling LeBron out for certain things. I do feel like there's a little bit of this jealousy from former players that, if you want to poke at LeBron for kind of being a drama queen, kind of egging on the media, continue these media cycles that are maybe unnecessary, by all means go for it. But I think when you kind of look at LeBron James and when he made these moves throughout his career, I do kind of feel like there is some context that's left out a little bit. And we're going to start here with Charles Barkley, the guys. Charles Barkley basically came out and said, hey, LeBron's ring chasing. And then Derek Fisher, former Laker, kind of came out and said, look, if you're the one who's been providing the rings, if you're a still good player, you're not chasing rings the likes of maybe a Shaquille O'Neal was when he was like completely washed at the end of his career. Maybe a Charles Barkley going to the Houston Rockets. Guys, Charles Barkley.
This is not Celtics Shaq.
Right.
Like,
The entire 90s, he actually, like if you read some of the stories, he was just hoping to get traded to the Bulls pretty much every season. And he went to Phoenix to try to win a championship. We'll go to LeBron here. Look, it's very rare that a team sees a 22-year-old steamroll through the Eastern Conference carrying a team to the finals and says, oh man, we got to trade for 2 Hall of Famers because of that guy. And then, look, he goes to Miami, evens the stakes, wins a couple titles. D-Wade's knees kind of break down, and, the Spurs on the rise, the Warriors on the rise. I think he kind of evened the stakes a little bit going to Cleveland. He wins another championship there. KD kind of spoils the party, joins the 73-9 squad. He kind of fast forward a little bit. LeBron gets AD. He kind of has a fair shot to win it, and he does it. I'm saying, look, LeBron James once again has a fair shot to win a championship. I know he's lost a couple fair shots here in the last couple of years on the Lakers. Don't get me wrong, but we're talking about a guy who has won 25 straight playoff series against Eastern Conference teams. That goes to that 8-year stretch, winning, of course, 3 conference series in the East per season, and then defeating the Miami Heat in the 2020 championship. 25-0 in playoff series since 2010 is very impressive for LeBron. I say, why can't he make it 28-0 and go back to the finals?
Yeah, I say the same thing, but the Eastern Conference is really stacked this year. 8 of the top 12 best odds to win the NBA Finals are teams in the Eastern Conference. And that's not counting the Indiana Pacers, who return Tyrese Halliburton. If he comes back to full form, running him out there and Ivica Zubac, that's a really good starting 5. Halliburton's an MVP candidate from day one, again, if he's healthy. And that's a team that's outside of the top 8 odds in the East to win the NBA Finals. Again, 8 of those teams are among the top 12 overall best odds in the NBA to win the Finals in June. So it's going to be a hike for them. The best part about this, though, is that it's not going to be a cakewalk. They're going to have to play against really good teams, beat really good teams, and it's going to foster some new age rivalries, which is what the NBA really needs. And even if it's going to be, partially to the credit of LeBron, who isn't going to be in the NBA, 5 years from now, I think that we are going to feel positive effects of this move several years down the line. At least that's my hope.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see how all that plays out. I do want to get to the TBT before we let you go, and I'll go here on this question. We know that the TBT has become a pretty big deal in Wichita, partially because they won it last year, partially because the golden era of Shocker basketball involved a lot of the guys who play on this TBT team, and fans kind of cling on to that. And so I get that. And up in Manhattan and Lawrence, it's something to do in the summer, but it probably hasn't become as big of a deal. But I'll ask you this from being up in that part of the state perspective, how do these JHX players feel about this opportunity to play the Aftershocks? Have you heard anything going with that? I know they're playing for $2 million, but what is the vibe like up in Topeka, Lawrence area heading into this game tonight?
Well, first of all, when that game between Jayhawks Hoops and Purple Rain wrapped up on Friday, the Aftershocks game had just started. So we didn't know who the opponent was going to be in the quarterfinals. Now, this being an all-Kansas matchup is really cool because it preserves the chance now that the TBT championship, overall championship, will be played in the state for the second straight year, which would be really, really exciting. And so TBT as a whole, I think, is a little more than just something fun to do over the summer. And I think that people in Topeka, at least, are starting to feel the same way. You know, having this thing at Lee Arena, it was absolutely bussing. I mean, the vibes were immaculate. People were having a great time. To have that kind of basketball experience in the middle of July in Topeka, Kansas, I think was really unique, and something that people can really latch onto if it's going to be an every summer thing, especially if, you know, Jayhawks Hoops can kind of bring some new alumni to the table each year. You know, this year the big draw is Frank Mason. Maybe next year they get, you know, somebody else. So I don't know. You know, I think that this is a really exciting opportunity for them to move on in this tournament, for them to come back to Topeka on Sunday and potentially play for a TBT championship. And I think that, you know, the TBT story for Jayhawks Hoops is really just beginning. Even if they lose today, I think that they have shown last week and this summer that they're here to stay and kind of take this thing up a notch from here on out.
Now, were you a little surprised to ultimately see Jayhawks Hoops, whatever they're calling up there in KU land? Were you surprised to see Zeke Mayo and Frank Mason III and company, you know, come back from what was a 0-1 deficit here in this best-of-3 first-round series of the TBT? But, I mean, Purple Rain won easily, and Michael Beasley had some nice performances in this series offensively. At 6 blocks, I think, in the first half, back on Friday. I mean, was this more about KU, you know, playing like they should have this entire series, or was it more about Purple Rain and the Wildcats choking this thing?
Yeah, I think more of the second option there. Maybe not choking as much. They ran out of gas. I think that Purple Rain is a little bit older, rustier than Jayhawks Hoops. You know, Michael Beasley is really in the twilight of his basketball career, and you saw it especially on the defensive side of the ball. He never left his feet, and I think that was really the first sign that physically he's not able to do the things that he used to be able to do on the basketball court, especially the last time that he was playing in Bramlage Coliseum. And so for him to put on that performance on Tuesday was super cool. Even though he wasn't able to follow it up, kind of made it even cooler that he had that one-off performance, you know, because it was like this nice blast from the past thing, and then the team kind of fell off after that. Yeah, I can't say I'm too surprised by it. Jayhawks Hoops is a much better team on paper. These guys, they have more guys who have played together before, who are familiar with each other's games. You know, some of the better players on Purple Rain this summer were the non-K-Staters, Sean Williams, Brandon Childress, guys who have never played in the Purple before, and just came and hooped their hearts out this summer, which was super cool. But, you know, it's kind of more about the alumni, and I think that it'd be easier for the K-State fans on their side of things to latch on if, you know, maybe a Marquise Noel was playing in this, or a Keontae Johnson. Maybe that'll be the case next year. Maybe Purple Rain will dissolve before next year. Only time will tell. But Jayhawks Hoops, you know, the hype is real, and I'm excited to see what they can do tonight and hopefully going forward Wednesday and even on to Sunday.
Absolutely. It's been a fun tournament so far. And I will say, like, tonight, everybody wants to win the championship, but in terms of, like, bragging rights matchups, tonight's the marquee matchup for the Aftershocks. But for Jayhawks Hoops, right, they get to go to Lexington, Kentucky if they win this one. So getting past this one kind of sets up probably Kansas's marquee matchup against another blue blood out in Kentucky.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to see how the rest of the tournament plays out.
Jason Conander, he is the man from WIBW. Follow him at exactly that Twitter handle, WIBW Jason on X. Look, dude, it's always a blast to have you on. I noticed you updated your profile pic of you at the World Cup.
Yeah, you know that joke about guys getting one good picture of themselves and using it as their profile pic for the next 3 years?
Yeah.
It's totally true. I took my profile pic almost 3 years ago, and so now to finally change it feels really good. I'm going to keep it as my profile pic for the next at least, 6 months. And yeah, it's a sick picture, and I got the credential blurred out, so that's really all that matters.
We got someone to take a photo of us the other day broadcasting the Aftershocks games. Jason, you're the man. We'll see you, dude.
Adios.
See you, Jason.
This segment of the Press Box is brought to you by Wichita Clear Bra, the ultimate car care and protection. Online at wichitaclearbra.com.
The Press Box on KGSO.
The NBC Baseball World Series is back, and your home for all the primetime games is right here on Wichita's sports station, KGSO. From the first pitch to the championship game, KGSO is your home for all your favorite Kansas teams and primetime games. Enjoy the best collegiate players from around the country as they gather for the annual NBC Baseball World Series. And it's right here on KGSO.
Brought to you by the Mark May Allstate Insurance Agency and Pride Egg Ace Hardware of Mays.
Fierce coins and bullion, Kansas's premier bullion dealer.
If you want to add gold and silver bullion to your portfolio, there's no better place to go. Make sure to check out Phil's Coins online at philscoins.com. And with the largest variety of items, you'll find exactly what you're looking for. Phil's Coins and Bullion, 9344 West Central Avenue. Go check them out today.
Fierce coins and bullion, philscoins.com.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
Your home for Fox Sports Radio. This is Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
Desperate and broken, the sound of a fight. Father has spoken.
When you think this show is terrible, something wonderful happens.
What?
It ends.
Oh, we just can't get a break around here, man. We can only do so much. All right, 522-1410. Help take us home here in the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines. It is the Press Box on KGSO. We've talked about a lot today, guys. Heavy TBT show, the basketball tournament, the $2 million dream is still alive for the Aftershocks. And look, the fuzziness from late last week against the Enchantment of New Mexico's alumni, we can just put that in the rear view mirror and cruise ahead. I think this is massive. Of course, it's tough to really give it that label. It's not Shocker men's basketball and KU men's basketball. I think the Jayhawks kind of appear to be a little scared to schedule the Shockers in the non-con or something. But this feels like one of the bigger, maybe biggest rivalry matchups. I know it's not NCAA sanctioned or anything like that. This feels like one of the bigger in-state sporting events we've had this decade.
It's perfect for something like this for the TBT, right? Because it creates a matchup that we don't get in regular college basketball because one side doesn't want it, right? And we should get it, right? And so K-State and KU's fine, but at the end of the day, they're just going to be we're going to play twice in the Big 12 with our real teams, and that's what's going to matter to people. Mm-hmm. In this matchup, we don't see it ever in regular college basketball. So this matters to me. This could be the last matchup for the next 10 years between these two teams, affiliations between these two schools. So whoever wins tonight can talk about that, right? And it's just KU played the Shockers once in the but you go back to 2015, that tournament game, right? That has a lot of staying power with Shocker fans because KU doesn't play them otherwise, so that's their opportunity, and they won it when they had the opportunity. So
maybe the Shocker baseball fans are saying, don't forget about us. We do get to play KU sometimes, but basketball, hardwood, under the lights, Coke Arena. I'm not going to say it's a completely different animal, but hey,
listen,
this is hoops
Shocker
country.
baseball and KU baseball, there's not you don't have to go back very far where KU was the little brother in that matchup. So it's a totally different feel, right? Shocker baseball has way more history than KU baseball. They've been to 7 College World Series. They've won a College World Series. Basketball, KU owns the state, right? And they always will. But that's why when you get the opportunity to beat them, it's a big deal.
Absolutely. Sasha, speaking of big deals, my man. Speaking of big deal, I'm not gonna queue up a big deal, no big deal segment, but the Seattle Cheney Studs, the Oklahoma Lookouts. I like that name, man. That's pretty dope. You got some fun names here in the NBC National Baseball Congress World Series from Wichita State X Stadium, Tyler Field, Gene Stevenson Park, guys. Andy Stats is on location. He is ready to go for the NBC, and he's going to be broadcasting on 1480 KQAM. Of course, we get the TBT tonight here on this station, 1410 93.9. But yes, on 1480 KQAM, the Big Talker, Andy Stats, the numbers guy, as I like to call him, is getting set up. Look, sometimes you get a little bit of a delay at the NBC. I'm not seeing, though, that there was a 3 o'clock game on the schedule for today.
Yeah, they moved up the 12 and the 3 to 8 and 11 because of the heat. So 6 p.m. game should be starting right on time.
Great idea. Shout out to the Cheney Studs of Seattle, the Oklahoma Lookouts for playing in this, kind of unheard of weather in Wichita. But scores from earlier today: TBA Texas defeating the Lone Star Baseball Club 11-6, and you got the Junction City Brigade getting it done in dominant fashion over the Austin Gold Sox. Look, you heard of the White Sox, the Red Sox, the Black Sox. Maybe the Gold Sox here from Austin got something else, but they lost 9-1. And then kind of going back to the KGSO/KQAM games that we broadcasted over the weekend. Sash, I believe, did you have the Texas Army Hayes Larks matchup
versus the Hayes Larks? It was a pretty good matchup, right? Like Hayes is the favorite in a matchup like that. They've got more current college players. Texas Army is a local team. It's their inaugural appearance in the NBC tournament. They got an at-large bid, but they hung in there, right? Hayes took an early 6-1 lead. They scored in each of the first 3 innings, 1 run, 2 runs, then 3 runs. But they got a big blast, Texas Army did, from Diego Cardenas in the 5th inning, I believe, 5th or 6th inning, a 2-run shot out to left, opposite field blast because he's a left-handed hitter. And that got it to 6-4. Hayes tacked on 1 in the top of the 6th to make it 7-4, and then it stayed right there. No runs in the last 3 innings. But a pretty good effort by Texas Army, but Hayes proved to be too much.
Looks like you had a 2-hit performance there from Cooper Holtorf in the Hayes Larks victory, 7-4 over Texas Army. That's a cool name there as well.
Quick shout out here as well. Texas Army used 2 lefties to start the game, Tristan Duke and Carter Rose. They made it through about 4 1/3, but Van Hanneberg pitched the last 4 2/3, only gave up 1 run and 2 hits. Former Carroll pitcher Van Hanneberg, who did his college ball at Nebraska Omaha, he was really effective from the right side against Hayes, against a potent Hayes lineup. So that was fun to see as well.
And then another KGSO contest over the weekend. Hutchinson winning it relatively with ease, 10-5 over the TPA Sticks from Texas. Hutchinson, kind of another one of those go-to squads here in the NBC World Series. Guys, keep on heading on over to NBCBaseball.com. Go to the Tournament Central tab if you want to see the full layouts with how the bracket's going to look, how each team is set up in their individual pools. Right now, Pool A, Blackfins, Lone Star, they've got the advantage. You got Austin here. The Gold Sox, they're staying 1-0, but they lost today. Yeah. Junction City has a win there.
Hayes is 2-0 now. Yeah.
That's good to see, man. BTL with a win. Santa Barbara with a win over the weekend as well. How about the Alaska Gold Panthers? That's always a fun name. You never know what you're going to get in the NBC. Baseball around the clock, 3 a.m. baseball. A championship game coming later in the week. We got NBC games every day on KGSO or on KQAM. Head on over to 1480 for that. Back to this station for the TBT tonight at 8. We'll see you then.
The NBC Baseball World Series is back, and your home for all the primetime games is right here on Wichita's sports station, KGSO. From the first pitch to the championship game, KGSO is your home for all your favorite Kansas teams and primetime games. Enjoy the best collegiate players from around the country as they gather for the annual NBC Baseball World Series. And it's right here on KGSO.
Brought to you by Doc Greens, Auburn Spirits, and Taco Pronto.
Hi, this is Brian Davis with Davis Liquor Outlet.
And this is Blake Davis with savings on Twisted Tea 12 packs, just $15.99.
And Chateau Ste. Michelle Chardonnay, 750 mils, only $9.99.
Davis Liquor Outlet.
Each store independently owned and operated.
Neighborhood locations with superstore pricing.
The 30th annual Adopt a School golf tournament hosted by Eck Auto Group at Reflection Ridge Golf Course raised over $134,000 for 450 area teachers and their classrooms. Thank you to the 144 golfers, sponsors, donors, volunteers, and media partners who made this possible. We invite you to join some of this year's sponsors and donate today at adoptaschoolkansas.com or call Lori Spence at Rusty Egg Ford 689-4410. When a community invests in its classrooms, our students have a greater chance to succeed.
It's time for you to crave a taco with a touch of tradition. Taco Pronto is family owned and has been operating for nearly 55 years. Taco Pronto makes all their food in-house from scratch using the freshest ingredients at prices that you can't beat. So come on in and take advantage today at Taco Pronto's daily specials to spice up your lunch, or grab a 12-pack of corn tacos for $11.99 for a quick dinner. Taco Pronto, 8385